What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Simon Hill. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share. So today I'm going to be talking about, of course, what happened in Buffalo, a little bit more in general about how these white supremacists are able to get away with what they do and fly under the radar of the law enforcement, how our government has failed to protect us constantly about the threat of white identity extremists, and I want to do a deeper dive into what I think the solutions are, because we could complain, I hate that word, complain all day about the problems, but I think there are some actual solutions that we as individuals can take and also our society could take to limit the threat. But before I do, I want to start by saying the names of the people that lost their lives in Buffalo. These are our martyrs. These are what the Muslims call our shaheed, the people that hopefully will be granted paradise for willingly or unwillingly, because I haven't seen the video of what happened in the supermarket, but whether these people acted heroically or whether they were murdered, right? Unfortunately, these people, their names shall not be forgotten. Their lives will not be in vain. And as long as I have breath in my body, I will continue to speak up for not only our people, but all oppressed. So this is from a tweet by Michael Schwartz. Buffalo police have released all the names of the 10 people killed. Rest in peace. Roberta Drury, 32. Margus Morrison, 52. Andre McNeil, 53. Aaron Salter, 55. Geraldine Talley, 62. Celestine Cheney, 65. Hayward Patterson, 67. Catherine Massey, 72. Pearl Young, 77. And Ruth Whitfield, 86. May they rest in paradise. May God grant them paradise. And respect to their families. So let's go to this document from the Daily Beast. Now, the Daily Beast is a subscription news service, and I did not pay for a subscription. So this article should be free, but I hope I don't get blocked out. If I am blocked out, I do have the document saved on Notepad, so I might have to read from that. But this article is titled "White Nationalist Body Count Swells and Trump's Department of Homeland Security Retreats." This was written by Mark Potok, and this was updated on April 3rd, 2019, and originally published on April 2nd, 2019. So this is an older article, but this goes to show you how old this problem is about white identity extremism, the white supremacist threat in America, and Trump being a big symbol of that problem. So the Department of Homeland Security's decision to disband its group of domestic terrorism intelligence analysts effectively ends the agency's role in providing assessments of white nationalist threats to law enforcement. The elimination of a branch of the Office of Intelligence and Analysis, I&A, first reported by the Daily Beast earlier this week, resulted mainly in the reassignment of more than a dozen analysts devoted to Islamist terrorism and extremism. But it also saw the reassignment of the final 2 DHS experts on white nationalist extremism, just as white nationalist terrorism is clearly rising, as it did over the weekend in Buffalo. The reorganization, which took place last summer, was the latest and perhaps final step in what amounts to a dismantling of the agency's work on domestic terrorism threats, a weakening that began under Barack Obama, unfortunately, but accelerated under President Trump. That task is now largely limited to the FBI. There was a little bit of life left, and that's now been completely stamped out, said a former DHS official who worked in intelligence. They made a decision to get rid of the whole counterterrorism mission of I&A. The diminution, that's how it has to be pronounced. The diminution of DHS's work in counterterrorism intelligence, it once regularly provided reports to local, state, and regional law enforcement agencies, began a decade ago. In the spring of 2009, the non-Islamic domestic terrorism team at DHS produced a report warning of a rise in radical right terror, largely in an angry response to the election of the nation's first black president. Its warnings were prescient, coming just before a series of terror attacks. Among them was the murder of an abortion provider at his church, a neo-Nazi's murder of a guard at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, another neo-Nazi's failed attempt to murder hundreds of Martin Luther King Day celebrants, and the arrest of a man apparently plotting to bomb immigrants. The period also saw the reemergence of the often extremely violent anti-government patriot movement. Once again, this just goes to show that the threat of white supremacy is not only limited to us, because these people are targeting Jews, they're targeting anybody who is not of their ideology. And like I said in my last video, the white supremacists just have a death cult. It's not about actually Eurocentric supremacy. It's not about any sort of actual future building. Their whole mission is just to destroy the world and see it burn, right? And this is why this threat is much greater than Islamic terrorism. Though both are bad, I would say that this threat is a greater danger to the world, obviously. But that didn't stop some 20 conservative groups from attacking the DHS report, falsely alleging, among other things, that it painted all conservatives and military veterans as being potential Timothy McVeighs. If you're unaware who Timothy McVeigh is, he was a man in the 1990s who bombed a federal building. He was an unabashed white supremacist. He got the death penalty for what he did, but his terrorist attack before 9/11 was the largest terrorist attack in U.S. history. And yeah, he's a very bad guy. In the end, DHS Secretary Janet Napolitano caved into the pressure, withdrew the report, and publicly criticized members of the team who were reassigned to other jobs. And for people maybe who are watching this and thinking, the Republicans aren't so bad. No, they're pretty bad, because these people, these conservatives in America, will stand up for these racists who vote for them and say, we're not all racists, we just don't like those people, or we would like to ban those people, or we would like to redraw these districts so certain people can't vote and have a say in their government. It's not both sides. It's not both sides are bad. I'm not a Democrat. I mean, I'm registered as a Democrat in Florida the last time I voted, of course, but I don't identify as a Democrat. I don't subscribe to the policies of neoliberalism. But the Republicans are just a right-wing, crazy organization. And if you're going to stand up for racists, right, there's no sympathy in my heart for you. Fuck you. All right, the ultimate result was that 6 of 8 DHS analysts left the agency for other jobs. The 2 who remained were assigned to the FBI and to the network of fusion centers that link local law enforcement to national law agencies. It got worse under Trump. This is the president, after all, who, while campaigning, repeatedly criticized Obama for supposedly refusing to use the words Islamic terrorism. He is the man who proposed a ban on immigration from Muslim countries. He infamously said that there were many fine people among the neo-Nazi protesters who came to Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017, and in the wake of the recent murders of 50 Muslims in New Zealand, he said he didn't think that white nationalism was rising. I think it goes without saying that I am not a Trump supporter, not a Trump fan, but what I want to say about Trump right now is it's not directly about Trump. It's about the black people, unfortunately, who are actually a small minority, but a very vocal minority, and they got a lot of attention during those Trump years. Black conservatives should be ashamed of themselves. These people should really look in the mirror and reassess their values. If you can align with a man who said that they were very fine people on both sides when you had Black Lives Matter protesters and, liberal protesters, and then on the other side you have neo-Confederates and neo-Nazis, they're not equally the same, okay? If your guy Trump had his way, right, on January 6th of 2020, 2021, pardon. It's late. It's 1 a.m. as you can see here. We would be living in a much different world. And all of those people who stormed the Capitol would see no difference between me and any of you black conservatives. They were willing to lynch Mike Pence. Do you think they wouldn't lynch you too? All right. In 2017, the Trump administration seriously considered changing the names of the DHS's Countering Violent Extremism program, designed to deter terror attacks by working through community engagement and education programs, to Countering Islamic Extremism, or Countering Radical Islamic Extremism. The renaming was dropped amid widespread criticism, but the administration did rescind several key grants that had been awarded under the program, including one to Life After Hate, a group of former extremists who worked to help others leave the movement, and one to a group of researchers at the University of North Carolina who were helping young people develop media campaigns aimed at preventing their peers from embracing white supremacy and other violent ideologies, in the words of the Atlantic's reporter Peter Beinart. It's funny because Republicans always give this argument, we're not against stopping these things. We're just against big government, right? We don't want the government to spend money frivolously for no reason. But we have enough money to send it almost like water on a tap to Ukraine for them to fight this proxy war in Russia. We have endless money for new military developments, right, to defend a country that's almost impenetrable. Why is it so bad to spend a few $1,000,000 to stop the crazies of all sides? I want to say the white supremacists, but why is it so bad to try to fund programs to stop young men from becoming radicalized? That's not a big deal. It's a drop in the bucket to the billions and billions of dollars that the U.S. government generates every day. Despite that retreat, there isn't much question that right-wing violence is rising. The Anti-Defamation League reports that 71% of killings by extremists in the United States between 2008 and 2017 were carried out by radical rightists. Rightist means a certain type of right in the U.S., usually, all white men. Not that all white men are bad, but usually these are a bunch of white guys who are fed up with their grievances of getting tread on, and they want to take it out on the world. Usually take it out on the world on minorities. Though with Heather Heyer being killed, it doesn't matter who they accidentally kill or purposefully kill, right? They just want to see the world burn. The Center for Strategic and International Studies, looking at terrorism cases between 2007 and 2017, found that there were 5 or fewer right-wing extremist attacks each year between 2007 and 2011, but that rose to 14 in 2012 and 31 by 2017. Another study by the Investigative Fund for the Nation Institute found that the American radical right was behind nearly twice as many plots as Islamist groups from 2008 to 2017, 115 cases versus 63 involving radical Islamists. Both are bad. Jihadis are bad. White supremacists are bad. Anybody who wants to commit violence for political or ideological reasons is bad. But there's undoubtedly a larger problem with the right-wing white supremacist extremists in this country, and that has to be acknowledged. And the same way we waged a war on terror, right? When 9/11 happened, we need a war on terror again. But this time on the people who are actually committing the most terrorism. And I wish somebody in government had enough heart and courage to say that we're going to send all the potential white supremacists and the potential killers, mass killers, wherever they are, of any ideology, but specifically the white supremacists. Why don't we send those guys to Guantanamo Bay? Why don't we drop drones on, Idaho and Utah and Washington, all these rural buttfuck places, sticks and stone places where these people hide. Let's try to get them out of their caves like we did Osama, and how we tried to do with every other jihadi in faraway lands, when our biggest problem is on U.S. soil. Let's treat them like how we treated the Arabs and the Afghanis and the Pakistanis and anybody else who subscribe to Islamic terrorism. Treat them like Al-Shabaab. Treat the white supremacists like Al-Shabaab. Anyway, hate crimes are on the rise, and so are hate groups. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the murder of 11 congregants of a Pittsburgh synagogue last fall, along with the slaughter of 50 Muslims at 2 mosques in New Zealand, are merely the latest reminder of the growing threat of the radical right. But you never know that you never know that to listen to the administrators. What's up with all these typers? But you'd never know that listening to the administration. Anyway, I wish somebody would proofread these articles. The only time I don't see typos is in the New York Times. They have some good editors there. Anyway, the accused New Zealand killer wrote before his attack of hating anti-white scum and admiring racist murderers like Anders Breivik, who killed 77 people in Norway, and Dylan Roof, who murdered 9 in Charleston, South Carolina, as heroes. He cited the white supremacist 14 words approvingly. But Kellyanne Conway, in trying to suggest that the New Zealand killer was some kind of leftist, described him as a pro-China eco-terrorist, even as she encouraged people to read the murderer's full manifesto. How do these people get away with what they do? How do these people... Kellyanne Conway leaked nudes of her 16-year-old daughter. Why is she even allowed to walk around freely? Shouldn't this lady be in jail? She literally leaked nudes of her own child. Like, she's a sick person. Mick Mulvaney, White House Chief of Staff, said that the accused killer's 74-page screed contained eco-terrorist passage. Those claims are based on a superficial reading. While the writer does show an interest in the environment, so did the original Nazis. Hitler and many others then saw themselves as protecting the environment, even if it was mainly from what they saw as the disfiguring presence of Jewish people. And the writer shows that interest in the environment in the course of making his racist motives perfectly plain. Okay, these people... the right, whenever one of theirs does something bad, they say either two things. This is a psyop, this is a fake attack, it didn't actually happen. Though at the same time they claim, victory for it, because you can physically see that people that you want gone off this planet are gone. And then also the other thing they say is that they read the text front to back and then pick out one thing that they maybe disagree with or don't like in the text and say, see, he was a communist, an eco-terrorist. He's not one of us, though we're glad what he did. It's like this, I don't know, man. These people are so pussy. Like, I wish they would just accept their people and accept what they did. And it's like how they feel about the Holocaust, right? On one hand, many of these racists deny the Holocaust happened, yet at the same time they're glad many Jews died. So what is it? Did it actually happen, or did it happen in some fictional world where the Jews just magically passed away during World War II? It doesn't make any sense. All right. Now, thanks to the latest changes at the agency that is meant to provide an intelligence basis for many agencies' law enforcement work, the administration seems to be doing its best to ensure that the threat it talks down continues to swell. Oh, pardon, I skipped this paragraph. Donald Trump has repeatedly avoided criticizing the white nationalist right, apparently not wanting to antagonize his base. He knows his base, or he knew his base. In fact, he still might run, and unfortunately, there's a good chance he might win. He could come back. There could be a sequel. Oh. He has suggested that the radical right is tiny and does not pose a serious threat. Right. All right, so let's go now to the second article that I would like to read about. The ugly chat logs show months of racist plotting by Buffalo suspects. And when the attack happened in Buffalo, I knew it was coming because I had seen this sort of stuff floating around on Poll and on B and on GIF all over 4chan for years, bro. Like, this was something that should have been, if I could see it, and I'm just a normal guy who looks at the Chan occasionally, people in government, law enforcement, the FBI should have known that this was coming, right? And also another thing interesting you'll see on Poll and on the Chans, all the Chans, 8chan, 4chan, these guys like to say that feds have infiltrated them and that a lot of their stuff is just glow N-words, which is code for the feds. A lot of them say that this is just planted information. The feds are just out here, kicking up dust, antagonizing people, saying things that will bring out the people that will leave racist comments, right? And so there's this sort of paranoia that floats around on these boards, where they somehow believe that the feds are, trying to draw them out, and so they don't try to believe anything they say, but they're still on there posting. So, out of the millions of comments that are left every day on these chans, they can't all be feds, right? As we read in the previous article, the federal government stopped the funding of extremist monitoring. You guys are free to do what you want to do. Actually, you guys are free to talk amongst yourselves. I pretty much believe that 99.9% of what's on the chan and poll, all the chans and polls, is actual real people saying their real feelings. It's not a bunch of feds, honestly, because your guy Trump got rid of all the type of monitoring of you guys. It doesn't exist. So please rest and assured, the guy you're talking to about how much you hate N-words and this and that, it's probably your neighbor. Anyway, let's go to this. So this is written by Kelly Wheel, reporter, Kate Bricklet, senior reporter, updated on May 16th, 2022. All right, so a white supremacist accused of murdering 10 people and injuring 3 more at a Buffalo, New York supermarket previously mauled other locations, including schools, churches, and malls in multiple upstate and western New York cities like Rochester, his internet writings reveal. Peyton Gendron is accused of opening fire at a Tops-friendly supermarket on Saturday afternoon. A manifesto released online shortly before the shooting suggested that the shooters specifically targeted that supermarket because it was located in a neighborhood with a large black population. The manifesto is currently under investigation by law enforcement. But Gendron also kept detailed logs of his alleged plans on the messaging app Discord, dating back until at least November 2021. Those logs, reviewed by the Daily Beast, reveal aspiring killer reveal an aspiring killer who was inspired by past racist massacres and hoped to recreate them against black New Yorkers. Gendron routinely shared personally identifying information on Discord, including selfies and videos. On multiple occasions, he uploaded high school yearbook photographs of himself with details that match prior reporting about his behavior in school, like his decision to wear a hazmat suit at the start of the 2020 school year. In January, he shared racist posts about black people accompanied by a photo of what he described as his college cafeteria. That picture was taken in a cafeteria at SUNY Broome, where he was enrolled as a student. In the logs, he also blamed his tinnitus, a recurring grievance, an account tied to him raised in Reddit posts, on black people. Right, so this guy is somebody who the right would say was based, showing up in a hazmat suit, talking about how much you hate the black people at your school. In the chans on those pages, they say these people are based, right? This guy was a loser. And in the days before the attack, he used Discord to share pictures of himself inside and outside a blue Ford Taurus. Among those pictures are a selfie and multiple pictures of rifles decorated with racist slurs and references to previous mass killers. Video Gendron, allegedly live streamed from the shooting, shows him driving a blue Ford with an interior that appears to match that of the Taurus, and a rifle used in the attack bore at least some of the same slurs. All right, so a lot of the times people, before they hurt other people, are crying out for help. Now, I'm not a part of this group that says, any white boy that does something bad, he just was a lost soul. He was misguided. He's a bad apple, a flawed angel. No, this guy is a piece of shit. Fuck him. He can suck my dick. But, people often cry out for help or give signs because they want to be caught. They want somebody to listen to them at least. I believe in the common humanity of all of us. And I think as a person, he probably was asking somebody to come check on him, talk to him, take these guns away, because he knew he was about to crash out and throw his life away. Real G's move in silence, like lasagna, Dwayne Carter. If you really were going to murk something, you would just get your guns, not post about it online. You already believe in your white supremacist ideas. Go ahead and do it. I'm not suggesting anybody do that. I'm not saying people should do violence, but I'm saying, if you were really going to do this, man, and you really wanted to leave a mark, you wouldn't try to leave all this information out here, because obviously for months he was trying to get attention. He wanted help, you know? I think most of us on this planet, no matter what evil we do, there was some good in us at least. You know, I'm a Muslim, and I believe we're all born with a clean slate. We're all born naturally good, and the world corrupts us over time, right? And this guy was corrupted over time from probably his parents, who started off with this racist stuff, then his friends, then his school, and then America at large corrupted him with racism. And unfortunately, he was a victim of this disease, and also his victims. His victims, first and foremost, were the primary victims of his disease. And now, for the rest of his life, he'll be a victim now. All right, Gendron's public defender, Brian K. Parker, did not immediately return messages on Monday. Neither Discord nor Buffalo police immediately responded to requests for comment. The FBI and the Erie County District Attorney declined to comment. The Discord logs, which date back some 6 months, show a lengthy planning process. In early December, Gendron announced plans to commit a mass shooting in March in tribute to a white supremacist massacre at mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. The shooting is an obsession among certain white supremacists, some of whom have attempted to replicate the attack. And unfortunately, I know for a fact, unless we make changes, and I hope the world makes changes, there will be another attack. It might not be on black people. It might be Jewish people. It might be Asian people. It might be Latinos. It might be other forms of white people that white supremacists don't think are real white. Slavs. I see there are a lot of white supremacists who are Slavs, who are Serbian, who are Croatian, who are Russian, who are Ukrainian. The white supremacists, if they are true to their ideology, don't even view you as equal to them. Please, white people, the whole world needs to realize that white supremacy is a danger, a cancer to all of us, and it's a threat to all of us. It doesn't matter who you are, because these people have a death cult. It does not matter about any ideological consistency. They want the world to burn. That's all. They don't care about creating a future for them and white children. That's all. Their 14 words is all bullshit. It's 14 pieces of shit. They don't believe in that, because securing a world isn't about killing the world. You know, if their ideas had merit, they would have convinced us. They would have convinced us, but they do not convince anybody. They barely convince themselves. All right, so this is this guy in a hazmat suit. So he posted, attack begins on March 15th, 2022, 3 years after the Christchurch mass shooting, he wrote. He wrote this on a public platform, and he was not arrested. He was not arrested. He was not taken into custody. His guns weren't taken away. We need to have like I said, we need a war on terrorism, right? I could never post on Facebook, we need jihad in America. I am not saying that. I'm not saying that's what I support. I could never post on Twitter, jihad in America now. And new 9/11 tomorrow, right? It's September 10th, and tomorrow we need another 9/11. Jihad in America. Hashtag plane gang. I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm just saying, if I posted that, FBI, open up, boom, it's over. We need a no-fly list for these people, but this no-fly list needs to be bigger. Not only can they not fly, they cannot buy guns, they cannot be around children. We need to make their lives a living hell for what they post, because these people think they can get away with it. And this stuff is just not funny anymore. Low-key, I'll be honest with you, man. I used to scroll through Poll, and even though these people have done horrible things, you know, I used to laugh at some of the things that they would say, because it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, some of the things that they believe and say, right? It's just laugh. It's like they want to be lol cows, right? Honestly. But I tried to open it up today and see what they were talking about and see what they were saying about Buffalo. And some of the stuff is just so retarded and so disheartening to see. And they still think it's funny, you know? They're laughing at this guy from what I've seen on the chans, right? But these people are just sick, and they need to be taught a lesson. You know, all these words that they say will inspire the next person, and these people need to be on a no-fly list, the same way the U.S. government treated everybody who had an uncle in Pakistan who did something crazy, or because they came from Iraq and their brother was caught up with ISIS or whatever. Like, these people, as soon as they post something like this, automatic, boom, you're on the no whatever list. No guns, no planes, no loans, no student loans, no mortgages. You know, make these people make their lives a living hell, because we have to teach these people a lesson. They use the First Amendment as their protection, but their First Amendment is taking away our right to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We need to stop this, man. There needs to be a new war on terror, on this white supremacist terror. How can you post something like this and get away with it? You know, you can post online that this needs to happen. You're going to have an attack and nothing happens to you. And then a few months later, 10 people end up in a body bag. I've been planning this attack for what seems like years now. Every day that goes by, it feels less like a joke and more real, he added. He also alluded to at least briefly raising alarm among local authorities. He was crying out for help, and I wish somebody answered that call and put his ass in jail and buried his ass, man. I spent 20 years in a hospital's emergency room on 5/28/2021. This was because I answered murder-suicide to the question, what do you want to do when you retire, on an online assignment in an economics class. He wrote under the name Jimbo Boy, which was also used to live stream the attack. The New York Times previously reported that Gendron made a similar threat around the end of the school year and was taken in for an evaluation by state police approximately a week after Gendron's self-described emergency room visit. This was a disturbed person, like all terrorists who leave Western countries and travel to the Middle East to go fight with whoever. This person was a disturbed person as well. He was infected with white supremacy, which all Americans are infected with white supremacy, but also on top of that, he was definitely crazy. He was crying out for help, and somebody should have answered that call and put his ass in jail, and also on a no gun buying list. But of course, the Second Amendment is a religion to Americans, and until we agree to all be atheists and let go of the Second Amendment, we will see this again. I know for a fact it's only a matter of days, months, years, but it will happen again. While at the hospital, he continued, he was thinking of a personal attack against the replacers at this point, and I had watched the Christchurch mass shooting a few weeks previously and began reading up on his motives and beliefs. The mention of replacers is a reference to a racist conspiracy theory that has seen increased support from right-wing voices like Fox News' Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson needs to be taken off the air immediately. A student at SUNY Broome in New York's Southern Tier at the time of many of his writings, Gendron lamented that his predominantly white locale was not a good place for a mass murder. Instead, he mulled trips to other New York cities with large black populations. He also logged his purchases of ammunition and body armor throughout January and noted that he was considering suicide before changing course. There was no turning back now. I am fully committed to using all of my resources and power to commit this attack, he wrote that month. Days after praising the Christchurch shooting, Jimbo Boy, what a stupid name, wrote that northern Rochester may be a good location for his future hate crime, as would Mount Vernon and Hempstead. For some time, he appears to have homed in on Rochester, even sketching a map of the city and its suburbs with predominantly black areas highlighted in red. He mulled specific locations for a mass shooting, like a Rochester Walmart. Perhaps a supermarket would be a better option for attack, he wrote, in a message that forecasted his eventual attack, Wegmans or something. Honestly, man, why would you do something so stupid? If you believe in the great replacement theory, if you believe that the world is eventually becoming darker and darker and less white, why wouldn't you just get married to some white woman, find the blondest, bluest side woman you can find, and just start pumping her up? You know what I mean? Just dropping babies one after one. Like, I don't get what logic it makes to kill people and then try to kill yourself to try to stop the great replacement. That's dumb. It's dumb strategy. Honestly, Gendron, may you rot in piss. You could have just become a police officer in the U.S. and you would have been able to kill as many black people as you wanted, honestly, because we live in the most white supremacist country ever. Honestly, that's what you could have done, if this was really your aim. This is just dumb that this guy could go so long with so many red flags around him, and nobody thought about stopping and checking him. Rochester Mall, he mused on Christmas Day, accompanied by a link to a video of a black man quizzing shoppers about rap music at Grease Ridge Mall, a shopping center in the area. He wrote of his need to make some trips to Rochester to check out areas of attack. Gendron appears to have shifted focus to another area mall later, noting in February that Marketplace Mall is another option. Repeatedly throughout his planning, he discussed trying to kill as many black people as possible. I need to check the Walmart on Monday evening so I can get an idea of the races that enter. What a loser. Like, seriously, don't you have anything better to do with your time, man? Like, get a girlfriend, learn an instrument, go work out. Like, seriously, like, what a bored, sick incel. Like, dude, get a life. He wrote that same day, according to Google Maps, it's all whites. He also suggested targeting black children or black churchgoers. A church will be interesting for the large amount of people in one place, but I don't know. I get a bad feeling about doing it in a church, he said, noting the Christchurch killer's successful attacks on mosques. So you feel bad killing people in a church, but you're going to kill people regardless. The white supremacists make no sense. And you know what's even crazier? A lot of them consider themselves Christian. A lot of them consider themselves defending Christendom and the idea of, this white version of Christianity that they have in their mind. How do these people rationalize? I'll answer that. There is no rationale with them. We need to continue to fight this ideological war with them and the people who are sympathetic towards them, to make it be known that these sorts of things are just dumb ideas. These are dumb ideas. They're really dumb ideas. He posted the name of a specific Buffalo school which accepts children as young as 3 for its preschool classes. I would also try to attack a black elementary school, but I'm not sure how I would get in, he wrote. He wanted to do a Sandy Hook on black children. That's sad. On January 20th, Jimbo wrote, maybe even a synagogue would be a desirable place for an attack before deciding it. March 15th is a Monday, though. March 15th was a Sunday. When churches would be in session, but synagogues would not. Okay. These people are dumb. Oh, God. Days before his original target date for a mass shooting, Gendron decided to change his plan due to issues with his weapons, the chat logs suggest. Around the same time, he was doing reconnaissance, including at a Tops in Buffalo, driving hours away to surveil one such store. When I was exiting, the black armed security guard came up to me and said, I've seen you go in and out. What are you doing? He wrote. And I said I was collecting consensus data. He said if I talked to the manager about it, and I said no. And then he said I have to talk to him first. I asked for his name and he told me, and I instantly forgot. Then I said bye and thanks and walked back to my car, Gendron added. In hindsight, that was a close call. Oh my God. Oh wow. Man, he had some white privilege right there, honestly, with that interaction with the security guard, because unfortunately, even our people, black people, are of the belief that, little white kid coming in and out of the store, oh, he means no harm. He's just a bit nerdy, whatever. Right. But let it be me. Let it be some other black person coming in and out of the store looking suspicious. Police. They'll take them back to the security office, anything like that. Like, how do you get away with doing such blatant, like, in your face, weird stuff? Like, it's just not, it's not cool. It's not cool. This could have been prevented. The more I read about how this situation happened, it could have absolutely been prevented. And once again, it's time for let's abolish the Second Amendment, because I will not only talk about Buffalo to make my point how we need to abolish the Second Amendment, why white supremacy is a problem, why America's gun culture is a problem. Let's go to California. California, there was a shooting in a church. Ain't that something? California church shooting was hate incident, sheriff says. The gunman who opened fire on a Taiwanese church congregation in Laguna Woods, California on Sunday, killing one and injuring five, was motivated by political hatred, the Orange County sheriff said. Now I'm going to read this article, and I know some stupid racist white supremacist who didn't even watch the entire video is going to say something like, black people kill each other all the time. The shooter in the church on Sunday was an Asian guy. Blah, 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 blah. You only talk about what you want to talk about. You don't talk about the truth. I'll say this once again. Suck my dick. Fuck you. Fuck your mama. Y'all can all die. Secondly, I'm against all forms of violence. I would never hurt anybody unless I'm defending myself. And secondly, I think all forms of violence in the U.S. are bad, whether that be black on black, white on white, whatever. The problem in America is our gun culture and people, in this case, an immigrant, coming to America, seeing and looking around, looking up at the white folks, what the white folks are doing, because immigrants come to America and idolize whiteness. He says, well, all the white guys, when they get mad, they just shoot up shit. Well, that's what they did in this situation. They're following the white supremacist lead. They're following the lead of the culture. These people were told to assimilate, and assimilate they did. They got the AR-15 and got busy. Let's read. So, this is by Eduardo Medina, published on May 16, 2022. A Las Vegas man who the authorities say opened fire on a Taiwanese congregation at a Southern California church on Sunday, killing one person and injuring five others before the pastor and congregants overpowered and hogtied him, was motivated by hatred, the Orange County Sheriff said on Monday. The suspect, David Chu, 68, old man, what the hell? What? A U.S. citizen who emigrated from China was charged with murder and 5 felony counts of attempted murder for what Don Barnes, the sheriff, described at a news conference on Monday as a politically motivated hate incident prompted by grievances against the Taiwanese community. All right. The shooting occurred at about 1:26 p.m. local time on Sunday inside the Geneva Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods, California, about 50 miles southeast of Los Angeles, in a diverse community largely made up of retirees. It has a well-established Asian population. My father's a Presbyterian. I went to Presbyterian Church. Very boring church service. But it shouldn't be interrupted by gunfire. It's not that boring. 68 years old. Coming to shoot up shit. Get a life, man. Don't you have Social Security? Collect your checks and go to Tijuana. Most of the victims were of Taiwanese descent and ranged in age from 66 to 92, Sheriff Barnes said. 4 of the victims were critically wounded, but their conditions improved on Monday, the authority said. The FBI said it had opened a federal hate crime investigation on Monday. I wonder if the federal hate crimes also include politically motivated crimes. That would be interesting to know. John Cheng, 52, was shot and killed after he tackled the gunman and tried to disarm him, Sheriff Barnes said. Mr. Cheng's intervention allowed the pastor at the church to throw a chair at the gunman while others restrained him, he said. John Cheng is a hero. The pastor, anybody who tried to fight this guy is a hero. Without the actions of Dr. Cheng, it is no doubt that there would be numerous additional victims in this crime, Sheriff Barnes said. All right. Bags filled with magazines of ammunition, as well as several incendiary devices, were found inside the church, Sheriff Barnes said. The gunman had secured the church doors with chains and had attempted to disable the locks with glue, the sheriff said, adding that he also tried to nail one of the building's doors shut. What a terrorist. He was a terrorist. The majority of the people in attendance were elderly, and they acted spontaneously and heroically, Sheriff Barnes said. How many times are they going to say Sheriff Barnes said? I feel like I've said that 50 times already. And if not for their quick action, the way that this individual set up that environment to kill many more people, there would have been many, many more lives lost. The authorities said the suspect fired inside the church while the members ate lunch after a morning service. The churchgoers hogtied the gunman with an extension cord and confiscated 2 weapons before deputies arrived and took him into custody, Sheriff Barnes said. I take a shot every time Sheriff Barnes says something. That group of churchgoers displayed what we believe is exceptional heroism and bravery in intervening to stop the suspect. Under Sheriff Jeff Hollick said at a news conference on Sunday. They undoubtedly prevented additional injuries and fatalities. Sheriff Barnes said, I'm taking a shot. Sheriff Barnes said that investigators had found notes in Mr. Chu's car, which was parked outside the church, that were proof of his hatred of the Taiwanese people. The shooting happened at a dangerous moment in the decades-long impasse between China and Taiwan. China has laid claim to Taiwan since the island split off from the mainland in 1949, and it has threatened to forcibly reunite the two. Beijing has signaled its intentions toward Taiwan in menacing ways, sending military jets to buzz the island on a near-daily basis last fall. Two thoughts I have. I wonder if the hate crime law applies if you're of the same ethnicity of the people that you attacked. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if I kill a bunch of, black people because I say I hate black people, does the hate crime law still apply because I'm black? So is that just a regular murder? I don't know. That's interesting, but I assume maybe yes. They'll just apply it because I'm sure the feds just apply anything on the charges on your docket just to try to get a conviction, right? They'll hit you with like 30 charges for something. And secondly, recently on Twitter, I had this back and forth with this Moroccan nationalist about Western Sahara, and this guy is so nationalistic, but my argument is very simple. Borders, nations, these sorts of identities are not real. Like, nations are bullshit. Nobody should try to kill over an imaginary line that exists between sea or land. China is not real. Taiwan is not real. America is not real. Canada, any country you name is not real. It's just an idea. It's just what we've agreed that actually exists in the world. And if you're willing to kill people or fight people over a border, a land, over anything, you're pretty dumb. And this guy is dumb because he bought into the biggest ideology in the world, aside from white supremacy, though that's debatable, nationalism, right? If he was a Chinese nationalist that hated Taiwan for wanting to be independent, he's dumb. That's dumb as hell because China and Taiwan, though they have the same, I guess, ethnic group, Han Chinese living on their separate lands, they're just fictional places that we've agreed to exist. We're all human beings. We all share this planet. We should all try to have peace with each other, coexist with each other, open our borders with each other so people can move and trade and live freely where they want to live. I mean, imagine how better the world would be if these borders, these imaginary lines that we fight and die over, didn't exist, Maybe I'm an idealist, and that's a topic for a different day, but I'm an unashamed globalist. I don't believe in, these national identities that were given to us, right? Nobody chose their nationality generally. We're all just born into it. It's like a religion, and it's a dumb religion too, because it's all fiction. It's even more fiction than religion, right? You could argue maybe there's a God. You can't argue really that the line that separates Russia from Ukraine is actually real. Though Russia should not invade Ukraine because that's illegal and wrong. Anyway, more recently, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has convinced officials in Washington and Taipei, Taiwan's capital, that a Chinese invasion of Taiwan in the coming years is a potential danger. The authorities said they were interviewing more than 30 people who were inside the church during the shooting. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives said on Twitter that it was helping with the investigation. In a series of text messages on Sunday, the Reverend Albany Lee, who presides over the Irvine Taiwanese Presbyterian Church, which is housed on the campus of the Geneva Presbyterian Church, said that congregants told him that the gunman was a new face. No one recognizes the shooter, Mr. Lee said, adding that when a receptionist asked the gunman who he was, he said he was here before. Mr. Lee said that the person who subdued the gunman was a pastor who led the services on Sunday. The pastor, who was not injured, had subdued the shooter before he loaded another round of bullets, he said. Thank God, he added. All right. Sandria Chu, whose parents were inside the church at the time of the shooting, speaking with law enforcement on Sunday afternoon. Cynthia Connors, the mayor pro tem of Laguna Woods, said that she had been a member of the church since 2006 and had attended services on Sunday morning. Ms. Connors, who left the church at about noon, said that the Taiwanese congregation shares the church space. The church is in a peaceful retirement community in a safe neighborhood, said Charleston Hise, the organist of the church. I could not even imagine something like this could happen here, she said. I'm just as shocked as anybody. Nobody should be shocked when these mass shootings happen in America. We all live with this constant fear that it could happen anywhere. It does not matter what your community is like. It does not matter where you are. These shootings need to stop. We need to get rid of the guns, period. We have proven ourselves as incapable of having them. The same way your mom would take away the computer game or the toy or the bike whenever you and your sister or you and your brother were fighting over it, right? And said nobody can play it now because you two keep fighting. We need to get rid of the guns. We have proven ourselves as immature, incapable of having them. Yes, there are many, many other nations that have weapons, right? In Switzerland, every man is required to have a gun, as far as I know, right? But obviously, what happens there doesn't happen in America, right? And for any of you racist, white supremacists who want to quote the statistics and say gun violence is mostly a black problem, their quote is that we don't have a gun problem, we have a black problem. It's absolutely not true. You guys are twisting and distorting facts to make your point. But even if that were the point, and even if that were true, if I were to step in your shoes and empathize with you, because I empathize with you because you're a human, I would say this: if that's the case, get rid of them then. Because obviously your guy Reagan did that. When the Black Panthers stormed into the California legislature, legally, it was legal for the Black Panthers to have their pistols or shotguns pointed in the air if they were in the legislature. But as soon as that happened, it changed. If the guns are so bad, right, either one, exterminate us all, which you can't do, which would be impossible. You're not going to do it. All right. Or get rid of them, because obviously we're here because of you guys. You guys brought us here, brought us to America. So get rid of them if it's absolutely unsafe, right? But first and foremost, your facts are absolutely wrong. And what would be the other option? To ban black people from having guns, to have an openly racist, white supremacist law? That wouldn't make sense. You couldn't even get that done. Because most of you guys aren't even engaged politically, right? And your leaders are too scared to actually embrace your ideology, because your ideology is stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. What you guys have to say is fucking stupid. I'm ranting right now because I'm a bit pissed. I'm a bit mad. But luckily, I don't live in America, and I never will again. So y'all don't have to worry about me. Anyway, the church is in a peaceful retirement community. I already read that paragraph. Lisa Bartlett, an Orange County supervisor, said at the news conference on Sunday that today is a very dark day. She noted that the church shooting had come just a day after the tragic and hate-filled actions that led to the senseless deaths in Buffalo, where almost all of the 10 people who were shot and killed were black. Representative Katie Porter, the Democratic member of Congress who represents Orange County, described the news as disturbing, especially given the shooting in Buffalo. This should not be our new normal, she said. All right, so I'll end with this. Once again, rest in peace to all the families. Rest in peace to all the people who lost their lives during these tragedies. And secondly, gun violence is not a black problem. It's not a problem for just, Asian people. It's not a problem just for white people. It's a problem for all of us. We need to get rid of the guns, period. And what happens to us will eventually happen to you. What's that famous quote? They say, first they came for the gypsies and I said nothing. First they came for the Jews and I said nothing. Then they came for me and there was nobody there to speak up for me, right? So let's have some passion and compassion and some decency and care for all of us. And let's try to treat each other with respect. Please put the guns down. Please end the violence. Please, let's fight against white supremacy. And let's all be safe. So my name is Simon Hill. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe, and peace.